Merhaba and welcome everyone to another really important deep dive from TCE. We're the international voice for Turkish Cypriots and our communities globally. Great to have you with us.
Yes, welcome. It's vital we talk about these things strategically, but also, with understanding.
Absolutely. And just a quick reminder before we jump in, check out tcexist.com for all the latest news and find us on social media. We've got more discussions like this one, all focused on Cyprus.
Good stuff there.
So today,
Yeah.
today we're tackling something that's, well, it's caused a bit of a stir, understandably. We're looking at the interactions between the Turkic states and Southern Cyprus.
And specifically that big EU funding thing, the $12 billion offer.
Exactly. And we really do. That this has led to some feelings of hurt, maybe even betrayal for Turkish Cypriots watching this unfold.
Those feelings are completely valid. You see embassies opening, joint statements. It feels tough.
It really does. We hear you. But what we want to do today is maybe zoom out a little bit, look beyond that immediate feeling, that reaction. I kind of picture it like, just reacting to every throw and back camera.
Reactive.
Yeah. Instead, we need to start seeing the bigger game, the geopolitical chessboard that's really in play here.
Precisely. Our goal today really is to explore why maybe our frustrations should be pointed elsewhere, not necessarily at our Turkic brothers and sisters.
Right.
We need to understand the huge pressures they're facing, what's influencing their decisions, and knowing that bigger picture, well, it's absolutely key for our own path forward towards eventually recognition.
Okay, so let's get into it. First off, this idea that the Turkic Republics only just started talking to South Cyprus, our sources suggest that's not quite right, is it?
No, that's a really important misconception to clear up first. Mr. Tufan Erherman made this point very clearly. Since they became independent, these republics, standard diplomatic practice really means they recognize other UN members.
Which unfortunately includes South Cyprus.
Regrettably, yes. So they've had diplomatic ties, representation offices, sometimes embassies for quite some time. It's not brand new.
And we need to say it again, knowing that, hearing that, it can still feel like a real punch to the gut for Turkish Cypriots. It's difficult.
Absolutely. That emotional reaction is completely understandable. But, to really grasp what's happening, we have to look at the enormous geopolitical pressures on these Turkic states.
They're in a tricky spot.
Very tricky. Geographically, politically, think of them navigating between these huge global players.
Yeah, our sources really stress the pressure coming from Russia and China. What kind of pressure are we talking about?
Well, both have major strategic goals in Central Asia. And these goals can mean, economic leverage, political influence, even security concerns for the Turkic Republics.
So they're constantly balancing things.
Yeah. Constantly walking a tightrope, yes. Making choices that might not always look ideal from our perspective, but are driven by these really significant external forces. It's not necessarily about changing their stance on us.
Okay. And a huge part of this is China's Belt and Road Initiative. That's a massive amount of money, potentially $27.5 billion, maybe more, reviving the Silk Road, basically.
Exactly, connecting Asia to Europe, right through to Rotterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And it offers huge economic potential, infrastructure, trade,
But it comes with strings attached, presumably.
Oh, absolutely. China invests that much, they expect concessions, influence, which, raises questions about sovereignty and long-term independence for these countries. It's a very complex calculation for them.
Right, which then brings us to the EU's move, this $12 billion offer. That's a lot of money, too. Is this the EU suddenly supporting the Greek Cypriot side?
Not primarily, no. I mean, the Greek Cypriot administration will certainly try to frame it that way. But really, this $12 billion is mostly the EU trying to counter China's influence. It's strategic. They're offering their own version of a Silk Road connection, basically saying, align with us, use our infrastructure funding, don't become too dependent on China.
So it's big power politics playing out.
Exactly. Geopolitics 101. It's not fundamentally about endorsing the Greek Cypriot position, even if they benefit indirectly or try to spin it that way.
So that feeling, that some might have that the Turkic states are selling out for $12 billion, that's probably not the right way to look at it.
I'd say not. It's not a simple sale. It's strategic investment in major projects that serve the EU's interests and offer potential long-term economic benefits to the Turkic Republics. It's about influence and future alignment, more than a simple payoff.
It seems like the EU uses sticks as well as carrots, though. There's definitely pressure there regarding relations with the TRNC. That example with Kyrgyzstan inviting President Tatar, that really showed it.
Yes, that was a very clear example, wasn't it? Just for inviting President Tatar, Kyrgyzstan suddenly faced threats of having loans frozen, visa deals blocked.
Wow.
And even the U.S. apparently got involved, threatening sanctions over alleged Russian sanction circumvention. It shows the kind of heavy pressure these states face if they step out of line with the EU's wishes regarding the TRNC.
They don't have a lot of room to maneuver sometimes.
Very little on certain issues.
And this is where, the Greek Cypriot strategy comes into play, doesn't it? Using their EU membership.
Oh, very effectively. They leverage the EU's weight to try and isolate us, the Turkish Cypriots. Their whole goal is to make the TRNC look like a problem, a liability to everyone else, including the Turkic states.
Make it seem like engaging with us is just too costly.
Precisely. Paint us as an obstacle to good relations with the powerful EU bloc.
And it seems clear, without that EU backing, Greece and South Cyprus wouldn't have nearly the same level of influence, would they?
Not even close. The EU gives them that platform, that leverage, which is exactly why understanding the EU's role and motivations here is so important for us.
Okay. This also touches on the whole issue of UN resolutions, 541, 550. People mention them a lot. But our sources suggest we need a, perhaps, more realistic view of their actual power.
That's a really critical point. Yes, those resolutions exist, but crucially, they aren't legally binding in the same way as, say, a national law.
Right.
Mr. Erman used that great example.
Yeah.
Resolution 550 called for Turkey to withdraw its ambassador. Did it happen? No.
And there are tons of other examples, aren't there? Palestine, Gaza, Armenia, countless UN resolutions that just sit there unresolved.
Exactly. The hard truth of international relations is that powerful actors often ignore resolutions that don't suit their interests. It happens all the time.
So getting recognized isn't just about getting a piece of paper from the UN.
No. It's about power dynamics, it's about timing, it's about smart diplomacy, building alliances. The resolutions are, they're part of the picture, statements of intent maybe, but they don't automatically change reality on the ground.
Okay, so if we can't just rely on resolutions, where should the focus be? Building relationships seems to be the key message from our sources.
Absolutely. Shifting focus from just chasing immediate recognition everywhere to really proactively building strong, deep, lasting relationships, especially within the Turkic world.
President Erdogan's statement in Budapest really stands out there. The Turkic world is incomplete without the TRNC.
That's a powerful statement. It signals a long-term view, a strategic inclusion. It's not just rhetoric.
So it comes back to that idea, stop playing backgammon, reacting to every little move, and start playing chess, thinking strategically long-term.
Exactly that. Move beyond the understandable hurt and emotion and develop that strategic mindset. There was that quote from the senior Kyrgyz official, too, wasn't there?
Yes, something like, when the time is right, the TRNC will, of course, be recognized by us.
Right. When the time is right. That tells you a lot. It's seen as an inevitability, but the conditions need to be created.
And that's where we need to put our energy, creating those conditions.
Precisely. Working strategically, patiently, building those bridges, strengthening our own position. And our sources also point to the future potential, especially with the Silk Road project really getting going.
Yes, the long-term economic and strategic benefits for Turkey and the Turkic Republics.
They're potentially enormous once that network is fully up and running. It creates this huge interconnected economic zone. And the TRNC, we're geographically right in the middle of things.
A key strategic point.
Absolutely. At the crossroads of the Middle East, Europe, Asia, being integrated into that network offers immense long-term potential. That's the vision we need to keep in mind.
So the core message, really, that we need to take away is our Turkic brothers and sisters aren't actually betraying us. They're caught in a very complex web.
Exactly. They're navigating incredibly difficult geopolitical currents, just like we are in our own way. This isn't the time for finger-pointing or division within the Turkic world.
No, it's a time for the opposite.
It's the time for unity, for deep understanding, for really strategic thinking, both within the Turkish Cypriot community and across the broader Turkic world.
Our sources really hammer home that need for unity and, getting actively involved. What does that look like practically for people listening?
It means talking about these things, educating ourselves, educating others about the real situation, the complexities. It means speaking up for the Turkish Cypriot cause consistently, confidently, in every forum we can.
We have to counter that narrative the other side pushes.
Yeah.
Right? The division, the isolation.
Absolutely. Greece and South Cyprus want to see us divided, frustrated, isolated. Our unity, our strategic clarity, our resilience, that's how we prove them wrong. That's our strength.
So the final thought is really about that resilience, isn't it?
Yeah.
The strategic vision. knowing our time will come.
Precisely. This is a long game, a geopolitical marathon. We stay united. We stay focused on our long-term goals. We keep building those vital relationships. We will get there. We will achieve that just future we deserve.
Thank you so much for joining us for this. Well, I think it was a really crucial discussion. We genuinely hope it's given you, our listeners, some clarity and maybe a renewed sense of purpose.
Understanding this bigger picture is just fundamental.
It really is. It's key to securing that brighter future for all Turkish Cypriots. So please, stay united, stay strong, keep focus on our shared goals. And do visit tcexist.com for the latest news. Follow us on social media for more talks like this.
And share this information. Let's keep our voice strong.
Yes, absolutely. Share the material. Let's make sure the voice of the Turkish Cypriot people is heard loud and clear all around the world. Thanks for listening.